Hey, Renee, Chris, and Ryan going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Hey, TWD family, grab the snacks about the pantry and subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.
Un momento, por favor. Don't do that. They can hear us. Okay, stop, because it's loud to them. They can hear us now.
Hi. Hi.
We're gonna go back to my text message.
What's so important that you can't be part of the show right now?
Please feel free to explain what's going on.
So,
I don't like disappointing people.
are you playing with chords again? Nope.
That sounds highly inappropriate.
So I know things might look a little different right now, but they will look different again in about 20 minutes. Right. So Xander will be here.
Yes.
He will be here. We're just going to have to sit here and buy a little time because he got caught up in a little something. He's actually driving home right now, and he will be home soon. He will be signing on soon, and we will get the Xander interview rolling.
Yes.
He did apologize to everybody.
Hi, no, we did not trick you.
No, we didn't trick you. He did apologize to everybody. He said that he will give you ample amount of time tonight when he does finally get on. So the other thing that we're not going to have is going to be Renee. Renee's got a bunch of stuff going on. Yep. She's
okay.
She's okay.
She's
okay.
Family's all okay.
Yep. Everybody's fine. Everybody's healthy. It's just that for some of you who may not know, they're packing up and leaving Iowa because they bought a house down in Georgia. The old Georgia peach land.
You know, I meant to say this. I meant to ask Renee this, right? So you know how her social handles are like Iowa Mama of 3.
Yeah, now she got to change
Georgia
it.
Mama of 3.
Georgia
Mama of 3.
or just Peaches 3.
Peaches.
Yeah, Georgia Peach.
Oh, yeah,
Peaches
okay.
Peaches 3. So yeah, I figured, yes, it's a very big move. You know, and they got a very nice place down in Georgia. It's yeah, we know about your requests. Look. Requests are going to be like secondhand because we have a ton of questions. And as we all know, Xander is a very, very good storyteller. And
He's a thespian. He's a true thespian.
Yes, we all kind of get like just tied up.
Let's set this thing on still.
We get very tied up in like completely just enamored by his stories. So I'm sure we will.
I just took it off.
He took it off. The tie is no longer.
No, I had to come right from work.
We're going to be here for 5 hours. Well, I mean, Pi, if you want to be here for 5 hours, that's up to you. So, yeah. So, we figured what we would do is kick off the show. We can talk about episode 12 and everything that took place. So I just want to give it another minute. I did see some other people pop in the chat. Looks like some new people who were probably here just for Xander. I see Brian's here. Brian Castrillo. He's here. Yeah.
No, I've been wearing that tie since 6 o'clock this morning.
Yeah.
I worked for 13 hours.
Yeah,
I'm over it.
he didn't get to go home today. He came straight here. So
Because that's how committed I am to you guys.
yes, very. So episode 12. If you guys got anything you want to throw out in the chat about the episode, let us know. Lucy invited me. Happy to be here. Okay, very nice. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Appreciate it. Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for coming on board. Pie is here on Pie Day. It is Pie Day. It is National Pie Day.
Yes, it is. 3:14.
I think when we're done, I'm going to go to the diner.
Get some nice.
I'm going to get some blueberry pie.
Are you gonna get some nice
Moist pie? Yeah. I could go for a big old slice of moist pie. Yeah.
It'll get you really in the spine, you know.
It'll touch me deeply.
Yes, I do love you guys very much so. Well, you know, I would have kept it on if he was here at the beginning. I would have kept it on.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll throw it back on when he says, "Oh, he's getting ready," you know. But I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, and yeah, I'm always down to eat pie. I love eating pie.
Can we get all of the episode, please?
Yeah. Yeah. Blueberry. Blueberry's my fave.
Cherry pie is better.
Oh no. Cherry pie.
She's my cherry pie.
Yeah. Well, you like it because of a 1990s song or 80s song? 1980s song.
Like, what?
I don't know. Who was that? Who was Cherry? Who sang Cherry Pie? Who is that?
Was that War?
No, Cherry Pie.
Yeah.
She's my cherry. I feel like that was like White Snake or some shit like that.
I can't play it. God forbid, I'll fucking get banned.
Right. So what is
warrant.
happening tonight? Warrant for my arrest.
Yes.
The Rock has entered the chat. So yeah, last week or this past week, yesterday, I guess, whatever. Today's Monday.
Linda, there's a lot of shit going off the rails tonight.
Yeah, I hate cherries. Linda's just like, fuck it.
That is a savage tonight. I love it.
Fuck your cherry pie. So yeah, so there was. Yeah, Warrant. Never mind. Oh, hey, Dave.
What's up, Dave?
So yeah, real quick, I'm gonna do a real quick recap. Xander is coming. He's on his way. He's just running a little behind. He had some things he had to take care of real quick.
We're stalling.
We're going to talk about 12 maybe, and the way things are going, who knows. And we'll take it from there. So in this episode, we have Pamela, who's being introduced to the other communities, and Lance is trying to convince her that this is a great idea. You know, she doesn't seem too impressed. She finds out that Deanna, who's Deanna? Who's Deanna? Finds out that Deanna dies because she was bitten. So the safety and security becomes a big question mark to her with this whole thing. Even though, you know, Daryl does his best to try and, you know, say like, yeah, we've had our issues, you know, this and that, but we always win it back, kind of thing. So it's very concerning for her.
No, Lance is not a snake. He's a worm.
He's
That's
a worm.
what Max called him.
He's a worm.
He's a worm.
He's a worm. He's not fit to be called a snake.
Correct.
He's just a little dirt worm and worm. Aaron definitely seems concerned about everything that's going on.
Oh my god, yeah.
He desperately wants this to go through for, I guess, the only reason I can really think of is why he's like grasping for it so hard is he just wants to secure, like most of them, they want to secure a future for their, you know, families to grow.
Yep.
And he's definitely more on board than Maggie is.
Absolutely. He's definitely drunk. He definitely drank the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And but if you look at it, a lot of them did.
Yep.
You know, we had a small group. It seems like they left because of Maggie's decision to not take the support.
Spearheaded by Carrie Cahill or Diane.
Yeah. Do you think Aaron is hiding something? He was acting so weird at the beginning of it. I don't know if he was just acting weird or it was more like a concerned father. You know, like I mean, yeah, I guess you could say he was acting weird, but I think a lot of it is just bearing stress of the situation.
Yeah, I think that he understands what's at stake.
Yeah.
And the fact that the way they were going, they probably wouldn't have survived another winter.
Yeah.
With their food stores being as low as they were.
Trying to rebuild the community, trying to establish he mentions how they were self-sustaining when they first, they had solar power, they had water, they had the crops, they had everything. So he wants that back desperately because, it's just, why wouldn't you want your community to thrive?
Yep.
And I think he's just bearing a lot of that stress, knowing that, it might not happen because of, Maggie, obviously. And he was trying to make things look as good. He wanted things to appear as good as possible for her when she showed up. Yeah. And you could really see literally see the stress on his face about the situation. There are, but I think they're going to end up pulling all that support now that Maggie said no.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're really not going to have anybody. And now that Maggie's losing more of her own firepower, she loses an archer in Carrie Cahill.
Yep.
And
one of her best warriors.
Yeah, one of her best fighters. But she admits that, like, I'm tired. I just don't want to do this anymore.
And it's almost like what Lydia said to Daryl. And she was kind of like, how do you know? And he goes, or how do you know when? And he goes, how do you know when what?
Yeah.
And she goes, when you've had enough.
Right.
And he kind of looks at her like, have you had enough?
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like, do you want to come to the Commonwealth?
Yeah.
And so you could definitely see that there's a huge fracture going in the group right now.
Right. Right.
One thing I want to say, and I want to get this out of the way because if Xander shows up, I want to. Last week I didn't have what really grinds my guts, but this week I have a really big one.
Okay.
And so it has a lot to do with firearms safety and firearms training, and maybe you picked up on this.
Go ahead.
So I've grown up all my life around guns. So I'm very comfortable around them, and I understand safety and firearm safety and training. When they were in the woods,
oh God,
and they were surrounded by walkers,
and he yells fire.
Not to mention that. Okay, so here is the walkers, right? Mm-hmm. Then here's the troopers,
and they're in the middle,
and then here are the group.
Yeah,
and fucking Mercer fire, and they all fully automatic weapons. Fire and a load upon these zombies.
Yeah, with
walkers,
them in the crosshairs.
With them direct line of sight. I mean, I was like, what?
Yeah.
And no one got hurt? Bullshit. That's really what grinds my guts.
Yeah.
They could have coordinated that very differently.
I saw that too, and in a situation like that, there would be like a...
Like, get down.
Yeah, there'd be a word, or this, or command. Like, exactly. Get down, or everybody down.
Yep.
Something. And, it was just... I think in Bryant's... I actually thought that a lot of the walkers appearing too, I felt like a lot of that was set up. Yeah. I did. I actually felt that too.
Yeah.
The timing of it
came out of nowhere.
The timing of it. Yeah. A lot of it was just the timing of it all.
But that's another thing, is that they're in a semi-open field. Like, there's trees and shit like that. But no one saw the walkers coming or heard them.
Look, we run into that
all the time.
We run into that argument all the time with this show about because that does grind my guts. The fact that you've now been among these things for 10 plus years or 12 years or whatever, however long. You telling me you haven't picked up on the cue of them and the noises they make, how close they are, the sounds they make. I mean, Christ, when they come on camera, it sounds like a steam locomotive's coming at you with all the growling and everything and gurgling,
snarling and shit.
Yeah. But yet you can't hear that in the woods.
Yes, and they're shuffling. They're
like
not picking their feet up. They're shuffling.
It's like that saying: if a tree falls in the woods,
and nobody's around to hear it. Does it make a noise?
Right? Does it make a noise? Well, guess what? These fucking things make noise everywhere they go. They shamble. Their feet are rustling through the leaves.
And what? They don't hear them until they hit the fucking strings. The fucking string cans. Come on.
There's definitely things that we have always had an issue with. That obviously they don't see to have to change. Or they haven't changed. believe it was done on purpose to give the opportunity to show the hilltop, make it protect them. Yeah, look, anything's on the table right now. I just think that going back to Aaron, I think that obviously him more than Maggie at this point, and even Oceanside, who won't do anything until Maggie says yes. So Maggie worked out whatever deal she did with them in order to have that landlock, like
that trade agreement.
That trade agreement, yeah, like we're not gonna like none of us budges unless blah blah blah. I say go.
Yep.
Which I guess it really shows like the kind of power that Maggie does have, power of influence that Maggie does have when you have that power over another community.
Yep.
People do trust her, and even like Diana, right? Carrie Cahill, yeah.
Diane.
She even said, I respect the hell out of you, but you need to know when to say yes to help.
Yep.
Like it's kind of, and I don't know if the decision she made was good or bad.
Yep.
As far as saying no to them.
I don't think there is a good or bad. I don't think there is a right or wrong in this situation. I think that you kind of have to weigh the pros and cons. Mm-hmm. And make whatever decision you think is best.
Right.
But I also think that Maggie is, while I do think she should be cautious, I think to flat out deny their help is her just being ignorant.
Yeah.
I understand. I don't think the Commonwealth can be trusted, but Maggie also has to understand the position that she's in.
Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, she's toppled other fucking communities.
Yeah, I know. She really has.
So start, and she clearly. There's some form of respect and admiration between her and
Lance.
No,
Pam.
Yeah, and so they're sitting there talking, and Maggie's like, "You want me to get that one or should I?" And she goes, "No, I was going to get the one that was actually behind you." Mm-hmm. And then Maggie kills the one that's behind her, and then she kills the one behind Maggie.
Yeah.
And then they kind of sit there and they kind of like share this like just like this look of like admiration or respect. Maggie could use that to her advantage.
Yeah, she could.
And the fact that she didn't,
right?
But this could also be the long game. Maybe she says no now, and then eventually it's kind of like playing hard to get. Mm-hmm. And then what the fuck's her name? The leader?
Pamela.
I don't know why I have such a hard time remembering that. Pamela.
Palm? Did you say Palm?
Pamela.
Pam.
Palm.
Pam.
Pan.
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 Pam. Are you saying Palm?
I hate you. Pam.
Pan? Sorry, go ahead.
But anyways, Maggie can be playing the hard to get.
Pomula. Go ahead. Sorry. My bad.
Are you done?
Yep.
Okay. Part 2 where it like grinds my guts. You right now.
It's their brother moment. Tiffany got it. I was waiting for you to catch on, but you never did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Thank you, Tiff.
You irked me.
I know. Pan? Please continue.
Dude, you have me so fucked up right now.
Yeah, seeing Daryl take orders from Mercer was very strange. And Maggie saw it, and I think it's playing games with her. The fact seeing Daryl kind of follow suit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But if down the road Maggie says to her, you know what, like Pam does something to convince her that, okay, yeah, you should join the Commonwealth, and Maggie actually accepts, Pam might have a little bit more respect for her because she kind of like stuck to her guns originally, and she wanted to figure her own shit out first. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe she's playing the long game.
Could be. I mean, look, she sits down and has a conversation with Lance, and Lance kind of gives her this giant euphoric kind of vision, like, what about being able to go to college? Like, have you ever pictured Glenn being Glenn Jr.
go to Alexandria for a doctor's appointment?
Yeah, go here for a doctor's appointment, then travel up river.
Yeah, go to the Commonwealth for a concert.
So he obviously, and let's not forget, like, they got to be related.
Oh, yeah, especially because
Lance and Pam have to have some kind of relation somewhere.
Yeah.
Cousin, adoption,
bastard brother,
something.
Especially with her father being a congressman or whatever, and her uncle was like for the president or some shit. You know, and there was also wasn't there a talk about something about her family and a scandal?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was something.
So
like,
I mean, maybe he's a brother, a half brother.
He was the scandalous
bastard child, like Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like Tyrion Lannister.
Yeah, exactly.
Spoiler alert.
So yeah, there's something definitely, because they have a conversation. You know, she said, "Well, you tried, and I thought it was very ambitious of you trying to get 3 communities at once." And
I did it for the good of the Commonwealth.
Yeah.
I'll pretend that you didn't do it for yourself. Like, yeah.
Yeah, Connie got her uncle kicked out of the Congress.
Okay, so maybe it's a cousin or something. And
Yeah.
something, something happened there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely, Linda, 100%.
Is a competition? It's like a competition. It's like a game for him. I feel like it's a game, like a competition for him.
But she also said something to him in this episode. She said something along the lines of, "You've always been like this."
Yeah.
Or
That's what
you were like this even when we were kids, or
Yeah,
something. I forgot what she said.
Been like this for 20-something years or
Yeah.
some shit. Yeah. I don't know. So there was so many really good conversations that did take place in this episode. That make you try to figure out what exactly.
I think Dave might be right. I think it might be Pamela's father got kicked out of Congress.
Okay.
Because Connie did some kind of story or something.
Yeah.
So maybe it is like a bastard child or something, and I don't know.
Her father was in the White House. Yeah, I can't remember that whole storyline because it was choppy. And...
Well, they kind of touched upon it, and then it just gone.
Right.
Maybe they'll elaborate on it. That's why maybe that reverts back to the whole Lance and Pamela thing. Maybe we'll find out down the road.
Going back, I want to go back to the Daryl Mercer thing and Maggie's kind of, keeping an eye on that situation. I don't know what Daryl's end game here with this whole situation is.
Yeah.
Like he gets granted permission because of his position. Like it's kind of like a visual thing. Like when we go to the communities, you can wear like your normal shit. You don't have to be in like soldier garb.
Yep.
And he's there, he's helping, whatever. Mercer says fall in, and then he says Dixon. He goes, and then and he's like, yeah, 1 minute, and he's helping throw one more body.
Yeah.
And Mercer walks in and just says, hey, just remember they're always watching.
Yeah.
So like, Mercer obviously doesn't really, in my opinion, Mercer doesn't really care so much as to what Daryl's doing or what he does.
No, I think he trusts him.
I think he does, and I really think that there's going to be the long game in this, and I just think that there's going to be something between those two.
Yeah.
In the end, you know what I mean? That's gonna come together. It's like he's definitely warning about the Commonwealth. Yeah, Mercer has learned. I think we've seen him learn more about the Commonwealth, and he's letting on more about the Commonwealth in general. As far as like what he believes, like what he trusts. So we're getting to see that he doesn't have that type of commitment that we thought he had to them. I think Daryl's so cringe right now playing a little soldier boy.
Yeah, but Pi, I think that Daryl's using his strength. I think that he's a soldier. That's what he does best.
Mm-hmm.
He has been one of the strongest backbones of the community so far. And whenever they've had any kind of issue where it's like resorted to violence or combat, he's been involved with it. And so the Commonwealth is all about playing to your strengths. So why wouldn't he be one of the soldiers, one of the cops, or whatever you want to call him?
And there was that conversation too, like while they were talking, I believe it's while Daryl's talking to Pam and Mercer's there. I think it's right, like right when they first show up, like Brian says, like he did kind of, when he found out that Daryl was a leader of these communities, it did kind of, I think it like clicked up another notch for him, like this guy's capable, more than just being
just a basic foot soldier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think Lucy's right too. I think that Daryl's got Judith. He's got Judith and RJ to worry about too.
Hello. Nope. We're gonna pull you up. Hold on one second, and we're gonna see.
Please stand by.
Stand by, everybody.
We'll be back.
Take a quick
Intermission. Okay, there we go. There, we're up.
What the fuck is that bouncing? Oh,
No idea.
You're up. Up
Okay,
and running.
I think so. Why is it screen sharing?
I don't know.
Very dramatic thing.
Well, I think we figured it out.
Okay, can everybody hear us now? Let's do a quick mic check.
I don't know if they'll be able to hear Xander, but I'm hoping they can.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
We can hear you.
Hi, our mic is on.
Yeah, our mic's on. Everybody's mic is on.
And anything else you need me to do?
Hello, Xander, and I can hear you guys. Speak to us, Xander. Xander is eating pie.
Yeah, no, I'm not eating pie. I'm eating fish. And it's not even a fish.
Well, it's National Pie Day, so
It is. It's 3:14.
it's National Pie Day. It's 3/14. Plus, we have pie watching, so it's a big pie day.
Yeah. And she doesn't need to know that it's also apparently International Nap Day and International St. Louis Day because of 314 is their area code.
Oh, okay.
They just want to horn in on Pie Day.
Hi, I'm trying. Please, for the love of God, I'm trying.
What happened?
Pi said that she can barely hear Xander, so I'm trying.
Okay.
Are we still working on this?
No, I think we're good. And you tell Xander to speak. He's good. We just fixed the we just fixed all the audio, video in the audio. So you
Took
guys
a little bit of adjustment, but we got here.
Yeah.
I only do Zoom. For whatever reason, Skype doesn't cooperate with my system, and you guys only do Skype, and Zoom doesn't cooperate with yours. So it's a miracle that we still had a third alternative to rely on.
Good old FaceTime.
You know,
Yes.
when in doubt, right?
No kidding. How many times has it saved us?
Well, Xander, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I apologize for being late and terribly harried because it's been one of those crazy days, but I knew people were planning to join us here, and I didn't want to miss it. I was speeding in this one straightaway that is not a good idea. It's out in the country,
Yeah.
nothing around, no houses or anything, but they keep a close eye. And indeed, they caught me, but they let me talk my way out of it for the first time ever. So I thought that was a good sign.
That's awesome.
So what's up, guys?
So it's been a very interesting evening so
Yeah,
far.
it's a typical Monday.
It's a Monday. How have you been? Tell us all how you've been doing up in Maine.
Well,
how's the weather?
The weather's good. We did have a very cold spell,
Mm-hmm.
and after lunch, I'm going to have a promise.
No, you're totally fine.
I need all that. And we got this place, and it's very old, and we winterized it, emptied all the pipes, and kept the heat on so that the building itself wouldn't freeze. Like you don't want the plaster to crack. It's
Yep.
too cold.
Yep.
And the guy that's going to help manage the place, he and his girlfriend were in Panama vacationing. They were the boots on the ground, and they weren't on the ground. They were in the beach, and they didn't have boots on.
Right.
Barefoot on the beach when this all happened, and I've been trying to track down the insurance company. Well, that's what you pay insurance for, right? There was one pipe that secretly was connected that didn't drain, and that's the one that was near the door that was really old, and it froze. The previous owner said, "You don't have to worry. There's no pipes on the outside. Nothing's going to freeze." We went to the extra to winterize, and it still got 15 below out there, and it popped, and 25,000 gallons of water, which I know,
That's
I skip showers to save water, even in a
Right,
wet
yeah.
climate. So I felt like my whole lifetime was saving water was just like literally down the drain.
right.
But there was some damage, and right after getting this, I finally got the insurance adjuster out there today, and agreed to do the job that needs to be done, So it's a good day ultimately, but I was racing it. It was the last opportunity of the day and the last opportunity of the week for me to meet with him. So it had to happen. And then I raced back. And now I'm here. And I've just digested food for the first time in this second. And I'm ready to answer any question.
Well,
Well,
we got
appreciate
we got a shit ton of questions. So, I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna move around between everybody just so we can, Pi sent like 30 freaking questions.
Oh my God. Hi.
Linda, don't worry. Linda sent like another 30.
I was going to make some weird, like 4 and 20 questions because she's like baked in a pie, but no, it's like I'm baked, but I'm not.
Right. So you know what? Let's kick it off with some pie questions.
Yeah.
All right. So, Dr. Land. So she wants to know Dr. Landrew in Superforce. Landrew, is that his name? Dr. Landrew,
yeah.
Superforce. She wants to know, how did you come across that role, and did you enjoy it?
I remember so clearly. I had a big agent at the time, and my TV agent had me in her office, and she said, "Look, we've got this offer for you. It's 2 episodes. They're paying. They really want you." I started playing cult leaders as far back as Superforce. For some reason, they saw my inherent potential. I was doing 3 overlapping cult leaders in 3 different apocalyptic dystopian futures at the same time at one point, including The Walking Dead. So this was a harbinger of things to come for me to play a cult leader on this show. It was so bad, and I was so scared, and I made I just took a quick look at a clip that they had for me to look at somehow, a videotape back in those days. And I said, "This is terrible. Oh my God." But they're offering a lot of money, and it's 2 episodes, and I only have to work for a couple of days, and it's in Florida. And that would be kind of fun to be in Florida. Yeah, okay, let's do it. And nobody's ever going to see it, right? And they said, "No, nobody watches this show, and it's going to be, absolutely nobody will know about you having done this." And the first day I arrive on set, what's her name? A girl comes up to me. I should maybe leave her name out of it. And she says, I'm Ginger Lynn. I'm going to be working opposite you, and I'm the biggest adult film star." And I didn't even know that term. I didn't know what that meant. I just like, why have I never heard of you? You're the biggest adult film star. You're barely an adult, and I've never heard of you. And but I said, "Oh, okay." In my mind, I'll take your word for it. And she was in my cult. And at one point in the episode, she had to I have my sword out, and she was kneeling at my sword. And at that point, photographers came into the room and started, like, TV Guide suddenly showed up and were taking all these pictures of Ginger Lynn and my sword on her knees. And it was like, I went back to the hotel and I said, "You told me it was going to the TV Guide." Why? And yeah, that was a funny episode. No, I didn't have a great time on that. I had just worked with Charlie Sheen and Clint Eastwood right before that on the Rookie, and she announced to me at the same time as she announced she was the biggest film star in the world, that she was going out with Charlie, and that Charlie said, "Say hi." And then she goes, "Hey, come into my trailer. I want to show you what I got for Charlie." And I go into her trailer. I'm not a porn guy. I didn't know what I was getting into. And she opens this big, like, it was like a huge Kama Sutra gift package, and she starts taking out all these toys that she's going to give to Charlie and she wants to share this with me in the trailer. But George, I was like, "Where's Tiki Guy? Are they going to bust him in?" This is the tickler. Isn't that awesome? And this is the. Oh my God! I gotta get out of here. That's my Super Force story.
Very, very interesting one indeed.
You know, I gotta say that makes me feel just marginally better about the Pound Mary comment.
Well, yeah. Do you remember? Do you remember Pound Mary?
Pound Mary, what a great film!
I will never forget the awkward silence, and then Xander just look at the camera, and go, "It's Proud Mary, dickhead."
Yeah, but now I'm gonna be like the big porn denier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in Pound Mary, and yeah, I worked.
I was in Pound Mary, sure.
I blame Michelle Garman for that wholeheartedly.
Mm-hmm. So guys, I know that there's definitely some Walking Dead related questions in here. So before I even go into asking anything about them, have you even kept up with the show or anything going on with it?
Friends like Seth is my main guy that I stay in touch with. That's still on it. Yeah, I didn't like the way they killed off Gregory. It didn't sit well with me. I didn't feel that they resolved it, and I really like Angela Kang, and I really enjoyed Scott Gimple, and Scott had given me or his assistant had assured me that the season before, when I was languishing in that prison out yard, me in the background that they don't treat well. Background.
Sure.
I had to stand up for them a bunch of times of baking in 100-degree heat and not getting water breaks, not getting, and I would go, "Hey guys, I'm in here in the pen. Are you going to turn around on us at some point? Because they shouldn't, if I'm the only guy that's off camera, they're not even looking at these other guys. You should let them go take a break."
Yeah.
This is just torture. And a lot of that season for me was like literally just in prison and away from my family. And so that was that I'd had such a ball in season 7 with Stephen Ogg in particular. He and I just had such a blast working together. And we were so psyched to be, we were both back for season 8. He was being picked up as a regular. I was coming back. And so we got in an apartment together so that we would at least, when we were sentenced there for long periods of time away from home, we would hang out and have fun. And we did. In season 7, but in season 8, the very first episode, they had him push me off the iron staircase, which sort of flattened the souffle of our characters' relationship. And there was no really picking. We kind of knew that once he'd done that we weren't going to be able to get back that fun thing that we'd had going,
right? And
that they were going to take it in a different direction, and that involved me being in prison in that yard, and they kept Gimple's assistant kept telling me, "We're gonna." The whole thing is, it's going to be like the classic epic. We tear you down, and then slowly we bring you back up until you are again the leader of Hilltop. And then I said, "But you're still going to hang me, right? Because that's partly why I did this." And they, "Oh yeah, you're going to get hung. But first, we're going to get your power back." And so, like, I was so psyched for season 9 when I was going to get to take back, and it was going to be an exciting sort of switcheroo to get Gregory out and get him to run Hilltop again, and I didn't know how they were going to manage, but that was what I was sort of looking forward to, and I think partly because other characters were suddenly leaving the show, and they had to race forward in the storyline in order to get them to be in the positions, the storyline that they needed them to be in. So they had to give Gregory the unceremonious hanging, and I was just a little disappointed because that was going to be a big season for me, and I'd held out. I was going to tell you, AMC is cheap. It was the first year I was going to make $1, and then they're going to kill me off in the first show. No way, that's not fair. And so I had disappointment, and I stopped watching the show.
Okay. So with that being said, you know, there's all these spin-offs that are going to be coming off the series ending and everything. One of the series spin-offs, and this is from Linda. It's a spin-off of Negan and Maggie, in the Isle of the Dead. Isle of the Dead. It's planned for 2023. She wants to know, in Gregory's mind, who was hung for trying to kill Maggie, like with Negan had killing Glenn, she wants to kind of know like what your thoughts of this duo is together, like on this spin-off series that they're gonna do. You know, like what would Gregory, you know, think, since he was hung for just attempting to kill Maggie. You know, and then obviously Negan killing Glenn.
See, that was part of my problem, was that if Gregory didn't have the balls to kill a zombie, to kill a walker, excuse me, correct vernacular. Um, I remember getting scolded for that. No, they're not zombies. Okay. Gotcha. If he didn't have the courage, and you know, I sacrificed a lot of vanity to play that part, to play this coward, this sniveling, unappealing, douchey coward. And let's face it, that's not, I remember like in the beginning, like, and why am I supposed to want to play this part? And Gil was like, because you're gonna get to be funny. Because we think you're funny, and the show needs some humor, and it'd be great if you just and so okay, humor, I like that. And so, you know, I play this douche of all douches, and you know, you go to these conventions, they say we're going to make up for the lousy money we're paying you, but you're going to make up for it by going to these conventions, and nobody wanted Gregory's autograph. They wanted, like, maybe if he'd had a dartboard that had his face on it, I could have sold those, and then people would throw darts at him. They hated him so much. And I'd done a couple of hundred movies and TV shows. I thought maybe there'd be fans from something else. No, all about The Walking Dead. And I'm sitting there like, okay, so this guy is so unpopular. There were some great fans, and I met some fabulous people, and I'm just really, I'm too fucking old to care about what anybody thinks anymore. I got some great stuff coming out. I got great shows coming. I can't even talk about. They're so fucking cool, and I've signed NDAs about it. So I moved on, man, and I know the fan base is devoted like crazy, but I couldn't give a damn. I you know, I was told all about this family, and it was the people were freaking awesome. And it's AMC I'm not a fan of. I'll be honest about that. They don't treat actors the way they should. People that have been around as long as I have should have been treated better than I was. And I felt a little used, frankly, because it was hard because, you know, there's a couple of things you should never do I remember old time actors saying, never let them beg you, never let them make you pay for your life. It's a kiss of death for your career. And there were a lot of these things I knew, like, you know, hey, this is not an appealing guy. This is like, I can make him funny for those that are sophisticated enough, like so many of the cool fans I met were, and they got it. But the number of people that took it so literally, and they really thought like, I must be that guy. And I got treated like I was that guy sometimes. And you know, that for that, you should be compensated. And I wasn't. And so that's my straight out. And I know this is probably the kind of stuff that people like, I'm telling on him. Weird culture.
Yeah.
Of that, like, I couldn't even, you know, like, so. But I've just had a crazy day, so I hope I don't come off like an angry old fuck.
If it makes you feel any better, Xander, you are my most memorable autograph.
Well, that's because you almost died. Oh my God, buddy! I was thinking about that just on my crazy drive over to get here in time. You know, I was so worried about you, and I'm so glad that was not as terrifying as it seemed at the time. But it was awesome also to see, again, the community of people there. I don't mean to speak ill at all of the fan base, because I was really impressed by the quality of people that were so kind, and everybody that rallied around for you was a great example of that.
Yeah, it was, it was very cool. And, one of the things that kind of stuck out the most was what you said to me. I will never forget that. I was on the stretcher, and they're wheeling me out, and you put your hand on my shoulder, and you go, Ryan, my friend, if you wanted an autograph, you didn't have to faint. And I just went, what?
Really?
And you handed me an autograph.
Yeah.
You have my attention.
I think I tell that story all the time. I think that is just one of the, like, it's what I needed in that moment more than you will ever know. I needed that. I needed that laugh, because I sat there and I went, this fucking guy.
Yes, I'm alive. That's great. Well, I felt bonded. I felt like we bonded then. That's why, like, for me, that's why it was so important to get here in time. And I think the fact that it, the first time in my life, because I played a lot of bad guys, I don't mind playing bad guys, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just douchey, cowardly bad guys. It's
Right.
not good for your career. And it took me a little, I had to lay low, and it timed out perfectly for me, because we were moving out of Los Angeles, and I just wanted to be with my kids. I didn't want to spend time on location where I wasn't allowed to go and see them,
Sure.
because they might need me on second unit. So I stopped doing TV series for 3 years. I just said, that's it. I'm just going to work. I'm just going to build a world here in Maine, and be with my kids 100%, because, I was older when I had kids, and I don't want to miss the show, if you know what I mean. And so it was good, and I'm really excited about the stuff that's coming up now. And I still am trying to navigate it so that I don't have to be away for more than X amount of time on each of these things. And I've got these great things working out where they're willing to let me be as involved as much or as little as I want, and be able to keep my presence with the kids.
Good. That's all that they look, as they get older, and they start experiencing more and going through more and everything, you want to be there. Being away from home is the worst thing at those points in times, whether it's moving up ceremonies from, going through each graduating from each grade up and everything, or sports, or, acting or whatever they're doing, you want to be there for that.
Well, and these past couple of years have been so brutal for kids.
Yeah.
Just freaking brutal. So I'm again so glad we got out of LA, so we were at least in a place where there was, space and not as much of a presence of the pandemic. Oh my God, I did a show last year up in Montreal, because they brought the whole family up, and we could sequester and quarantine together. And I was going to turn it down. That my older kid said, "But wait, we're going to be locked down anyway. We're going to be like isolated from our friends anyway. Let's at least have an adventure." So you're right. Had a ball last winter doing that. And this year they're back in there in the mix, and looks like things might just get back to normal. But I'm so glad I've been here for them, and here in Maine during this time. It's been amazing.
Well, it's nice that you've been able to kind of build your own compound up there, and it's just for you and your family. So that's amazing.
It'd be a sort of a post-apocalyptic dystopian cult that I'm starting. No, kidding. Anyway, more questions.
Yes.
Let's move on.
Well, this is good, because I got a ton about your, I guess, stuff that's coming up. I got some questions about. So I got 2 questions. So I'm going to ask them. So, okay. Pi wants to know. So one's going to be from Pi, and then one's going to be from Dave. They're both about Booth at the End. So Pi says, tell us about Booth at the End. Was the man in the booth ever officially confirmed to be the devil? And then there's a follow-up question from Dave from Squawking Dead. He says, were there ever any plans to try and revive the Booth at the End? either immediately afterward or later on, it did seem to end on a well enough note, but still.
Yeah, yeah, it was so weird. Um, it was the very beginning of web series, the streaming concept, and it was originally conceived as something that would people could guiltily watch at work and watch like 5-minute episodes that were contained within a half an hour, and they would draw it out that way, and then the way it ended up going, that people watched hour segments. I think it was broken up just into, I forget, maybe 12 half-hour sections in the first season, and they followed that pattern in the second. And but it was Hulu at its inception, and we thought we kind of helped put them on the map. But it was a little while before they were making more content, and they were busy navigating and positioning themselves for a great big piece of the pie. And I think they moved on to other things. And there was at one point there was a lot of excitement about it. They were talking to the writers of Breaking Bad that just finished, and they were going to move it to another. There was all this talk, and it got bandied about because so many people were so into it, won awards and all this stuff. And then it just it's one of those things where another studio. This is happened to me. So many friends of mine had been on an amazing show, and then the studio head or the network head gets fired or leaves, and they change, gods, and the new person coming in doesn't want anything that anybody else has put their. It's like dogs and peeing out their territory. They don't want something that's been sullied by someone else because they think someone else is going to get the credit for it, and it's not their discovery. It's a natural thing, I guess, but it always seems heartbreaking. So many friends of mine are like, I can't believe the show they were going to, and then it's gone. And it felt a little bit like that with the booth. It was such a cool concept. And whether or not I was determined to be the devil, no, I was innately a nebulous. He was the guy that conceived of it saw him as a fallen angel, which Lucifer is, a fallen angel, but he wasn't specifically that. He was just somebody who had been high up and who had been cast down and had made off with a magical book from another magical, and that it's anything from another dimension is basically of the miraculous, because it's not conceivable here on this plane. And this guy had come back with this thing that allowed him to interact with human destiny. And he knew, I think, that he wasn't allowed to interfere with the course of human destiny. So he had to very delicately, he was trying to take a compass on human morality. And so he would, somebody wanted something, well, how badly do you want it? What are you willing to sacrifice? What are you willing to do to get it? And he could make things happen. And he would, by consulting with this book, assign them a task that would allow them to have whatever they wanted. They don't have to have it. This is what they have to do if they want to be sure to get it. And it was oftentimes a difficult and challenging assignment, and sometimes, just plain bad. And people had to struggle with their own conscience, and then that was what he was interested in. Is like, what are people willing to do to get what they want? What is the scope of human morality? In the second season, it was, what is this crazy little thing called love? And I don't know how many more of those kinds of investigations could have been done, but I was excited to see, and it was a fun character. But yeah, I think he wasn't a devil or angel. He was or devil or god. He was a fallen angel who was delicately trying to keep a balance, and that's why different storylines It was a brilliant concept for having different storylines balance each other out. So this counters that. to keep, the course of human history from altering dramatically, so he could come in and go out unscathed. And I love the concept. It's one of my favorite things, one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to. There's so much being said in the chat about it too. So, I actually got a question from Lucy, Lucy Papworth out in the UK. First of all, she wants to know if you remember meeting her, and then she also wanted me to thank you for, I believe it was Tyler's art.
Yeah.
Was it a comment he made,
Yeah,
or
I think it was a comment.
A comment you made on her son Tyler's art?
Oh, well, yeah, that's right. I've forgotten his name, but yeah, I remember his art, and I remember very clearly meeting her. And that was one of my. See, I'll be happy just to have made the friends that I did, all the cool people on the show. Stephen Ogg and I are friends for life, and so many of us connected. Andy and I really connected on the show, and so it's random. It's not always who you work the most with, but you just. And I felt that way about a lot of the fans, and especially in the British. The one that we did in London was really a magical event. The scale of it was nothing like anything I'd ever experienced before. And I remember Tom and I came out on this balcony, and we just looked over and looked, I think this is be a rock star. One could, well, they were doing it for him. Standing next to him, but it was like coming down when we came down the escalator. I think it was there or somewhere, and they just erupted. Just to see all the characters from the show, and that was exciting. But it was, for me, the thing that really did it was those that did choose to come to me. A lot of times were people that did know about my previous career, and we're just people that got what I was doing as the character, and but I wasn't really like that, and that I'd established some rapport with on Twitter because I just had come into that realm, and it was a blast just hanging out, and then we all had so much fun, all of us, going out in London, just these different restaurants and different hangs that we all gathered at. It was I stayed a little longer because I had meetings and stuff there, and it was super fun. John and I remember Lucy very clearly.
Kind of hard to forget a 5'9" redhead with a deep voice and a British accent, Oi, Xander, baby. She's all, no, I'm just kidding. I'm just making fun of Lucy.
You made her just sound like Austin Powers, the really deep voice.
Yeah. I was
Austin, did you pass gas before me? Sorry, baby, I didn't know it was your turn.
Oh, Lucy.
Question from Tiffany. Tiffy wants to know. Yeah, Tiffy Tiff wants to know, how many hats do you have? How many did you keep from shows or movies? And are you willing to send me one?
Yeah, absolutely. There's one in the back of my car right now, and it has the masking tape Xander written. So I know it's from some show. It's kind of like a 40s thing, but it's a little snug on me, and I actually saved it because I was putting a painting in the back of the car today to take out to the farm, and I like, oh my God, my hat's back in there. As I hurled this big thing in there, and I pulled the hat out from under it. So I have one to send her.
There you go. Hey, look,
She just needs to send me a self-addressed stamped hat box.
There you go. There you go. You see, you never know unless you ask.
The worst I could say is no, right?
I'm going to send him a self-addressed envelope that he can put money in and send to me.
I see.
So, that's what I was.
Well, you guys, because you guys, especially Tiffy Tiff is one of my favorite people out there to interact with. She's just so the little gifts and memes.
Mm-hmm.
Memes are her thing in particular. Brilliant and so funny, and really joy to interact with.
Yes.
And she's one of our OGs too.
She is an OG.
Yeah, she's been there for a long time.
Yep. I have a Buzz Aldrin question for you from Pi. You were Buzz Aldrin in Apollo 11. You look like you were actually bobbing in zero gravity. How were you in? How were the space scenes filmed?
Well, we didn't have the budget that we did on Apollo 13, and I felt so blessed and lucky to have had both of those experiences. Apollo 13, big budget Universal Studios movie, and they had the vomit comet, the thing that you might have heard, that the rocket that they actually went up and came down, and there was a period of weightlessness that they would all take Dramamine and different things to try and keep from barfing all over each other. But they all, we didn't have to do that. I was not entirely disappointed, and I grew up in the theater where we create illusions with practical magic, and Terminator 2 was a practical stunt as much as it was a computer generated effect. And with Apollo 11, first of all, having Buzz Aldrin be the actual technical advisor, and he had a small part and he got cut out. He wasn't a great actor, but he was a great astronaut. And having him there to consult about playing himself was just an absolutely extraordinary experience, as you can imagine. But the day he wasn't there, the day we did the simulation of the moonwalk, they had a beautiful set that they'd made, and of the moon, craters and all that good stuff, and black backdrops and cables that were pretty much invisible in that environment. I think I'd do a little bit of touching up to get rid of whatever indication there were of them, but we had actual space suits that had the cables in a harness that you wore underneath, and the helmet and all the rest of it. At one point, the oxygen, so the cables could allow you to lope, and they, somebody's put with a pulley and all the rest of it, so that if you take a step, it lifts you, and to create the illusion of weightlessness. It's freaking awesome fun. I'd been a bit of an athlete when I was younger, so all of those kinds of things always were opportunities for me, with the physical training that you get as an actor from a young age in the theater, to combine with athleticism to be able to create an illusion is just kind of what you live for at different points along the way. And the thing I almost died for was the fact that the oxygen, because we're in a spacesuit and there was, they had, as well as having cables from above, they had a snaking up my astronaut pantsuit laying up into, there was a hose that kept oxygen going up through my neck into the helmet, so I didn't suffocate. And in mid-lope at one point, because the without my realizing it, because it's so padded, the hose had come out from the helmet and was in the suit, so my body was getting oxygen. And I was literally mid-lope, and all of a sudden, just out. I passed out.
Oh shit!
And I don't. Maybe that's the only time I can ever remember just passing out in my life. And because you don't remember the other times. I'm not a big fainter. So all of a sudden, bloom, black, and the next thing I know, I'm coming to with an oxygen mask on my face and a helmet and I'm wearing a big spacesuit on the flat out on my back on the moon, on the craters. And what the hell happened to me? I guess the hose just, it happens, man. I just did an interview with Paul Shears, one of my dear friends, brilliant comedy genius out there in the world. I'm sure you guys know him. And we were talking about how many times I've almost been killed in real life while filming sequences where I get killed on set. That's an interview in and of itself. For another. But it's dangerous what we do sometimes.
Yeah. Look, especially when you're doing your own stuff, you don't got somebody to step in or whatever. I
Yeah,
mean,
and a lot of
losing,
times they have somebody there
right?
to step in, but they look like Coco the Clown or something, and you know they're not going to be a great match for you.
Right. Not
There
a,
were a couple of times there was a guy from Ringling Brothers or something that was, and he literally had the red hair, and they really didn't want to see his face at all.
right.
So, but when he would do this, when you know, falling backwards over the couch or whatever, when you got shot or when you got hit, and they would get Coco to come in, and,
Coco.
and he,
Coco.
oh my God, it would look, suddenly you're in the middle of this drama, and I can remember, I won't mention the shows, but they weren't great. But it was, they were filmed in Florida, and that guy was like twice. Like, wait, don't let Coco do it, because you know what? He's gonna overdo it. It's gonna be funny. He's a great clown. He's a great clown.
Coco
But
is
I
an
don't
overactor.
want him doing my stunts.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'll take that one. You stand there and you look at it and you go, well, that looks really dangerous, but boy, does it look bad when he's doing it. So I better just man up.
Yeah. You know what? I'll just do it. Screw it. From Linda, in City of Lies, what memories of filming do you keep with Forrest Whitaker? Were you a fan of Christopher Wallace, aka the notorious B.I.G.?
You know, I'm so old and white. I tried to be busy, and I I kind of missed. I was into house and but rap. I felt affected trying to. People my age would be into it, and I go, really. Yeah. I missed the boat. I grew up with Motown and the British invasion. So for me, I could handle punk because I was the exact age of punk rock. And there was an authenticity to that, but it was not my favorite. I missed what I had grown up on, and I'm still nostalgic. I was a folkie, as much as I was into all of Motown and all of the British invasion early on as a kid. As each one was coming out, like on AM radio, you get to listen to sitting on the dock of the bay, and then you get to listen to a new Beatles song, and it was an incredible time to grow up and with music, for me, I just sort of checked out a little bit after new wave. I was into a lot of stuff from new wave. That was like the revival of music for me, but I didn't. I was not conversant in rap, and I don't pretend to be. I always felt like I'd be a fake if I acted like I was. But I'm a big fan of Forrest Whitaker, and we know each other from way back, and I love that guy, and it was cool as hell working with him again. I didn't get to work with Johnny on that one, but ran into him on it, and Brad Furman directed it. I want to just say something in terms of City of Lies. Brad's got a great movie that he's about to do, and I'm so excited for him. He tracked me down when he was a kid to do his first short film, and he'd somehow gotten Steve Guttenberg to do it, and Pat Healy, and I said yeah, and he just really wanted me to play. I played a guy that was I forget special. I forget the exact term you're supposed to use. I'm that old.
Yeah.
And I'm that without filter. But he was mentally retarded, and he really wanted me to play the part, and it was short, so you don't get paid. You just go and do this thing out of because I just dug this guy. He had such heart, and he was so convincing when he talked me into it. And when it came around, I remember with City of Lies, my manager at the time, I forget who was, brought it to my attention. So I had to give him a call and go, Brad, remember when I did your damn short film for nothing? I understand you're doing a movie with Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker, anything that for me. and that was what there was. And he was like, "Oh my God, dude, thank you so much for calling me. You know, they're trying to put everybody's trying to put their person in there and everything." And I was like, "Oh my God, yeah, hang on, I got a person." And and so it was great to work with Brad. I love that guy, and Forrest, and
Oh, there you are.
I should listen to Tupac. I have familiarity with and thought he was super cool, but I don't know Notorious. I should. It's a gap in my musicology.
It's okay. I don't think anybody's mad at you for it. We're good. We are going to go. I just had one by Pie. Okay, we're gonna go back to Pie. Pie wants to know. Pie wants to know a lot, actually. So, The Dark and the Wicked was not your first horror, but was the first time. But was it the first time you were the monster? But was it the first time you were the monster?
I'm filtering through all the sort of little like weird indies and short film favors for friends, student films along the way. I think it maybe was, but it's funny because really growing up as a kid, as we all do.
I apologize. I have an emergency at work. I got to take a phone call.
Yeah, cool. Playing the monster, Lon Chaney. I was a makeup artist in the theater because I was an artist, my father was an artist. I did artwork from the time I could crawl, and my father loved all those early Gothic horror films, and so the fact that Lon Chaney Jr. did his own makeup and created these incredible monsters that I was terrified by and in love with as a kid, seeing them on like 16 millimeter prints and like projected, just so part of the reason I became an actor. And I've been holding off on the monster like I got so old that I was actually scary to look at. No, I just I sort of weirdly avoided horror films. So the only one that I did early on was Candyman, because it was so smart and so it was not a slasher thing. Well, he did slash and I did get slashed,
Right.
but it wasn't a gratuitous kind of violence that I try to avoid, and it was smart art horror. I felt like, and just like The Walking Dead is, in a way, it's just like an art piece and not just the gruesomeness and not just like but I have always wanted to play the monster, and I feel like The Dark and the Wicked, I got to just touch the surface of what I'd be able to do if I were to do it. And I'm really good friends with some of the most, and this is like a brag, I don't name drop actors, but I'm friends with William Corso, V. Neal, Tony G. These are the makeup artists that win Academy Awards, and they are dear friends of mine, and I have learned so much working with them, and they've been so generous and shared so much of the esoteric secrets behind the scenes, and working a lot of friends of mine, as because I was an artist living in LA, I was friends with a lot of people that were the sculptors for movies, and so I've thought about it a lot, planned on it, so that's coming. Planned. That was maybe the devil in Dark, maybe not. Again, ambiguity.
Oh, you're back.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Ryan decided he wanted to join us again. Let me
That's
see.
a long story.
Pi said, I tell you, the priest scared the living crap out of me when he stood there. Go watch it. Bring extra undies. Oh, okay. Candyman scared the shit out of me when it came out. So, yeah, I mean.
Candyman, I had one scare in Candyman because Bernard and I felt like, oh, this is so perfect. Because she's there alone. I've been out philandering or something and drinking and come back in, and she's been terrified because she's had all these encounters and scares, and I think she's on the bed, and I think I had the idea, and I said, what if I, like, to make up for the fact that I've been a bad boy, come in and scare her, and if the camera's here, because I see where the camera, if I leapt up onto the bed and like, so that she's like that's, that was the character's way of covering for his steps, is give her a little scare, and that'd be funny. And of course, the audience would leap because they were on the edge of their seat if they saw something leap up. So that was the chance I got to scare in Candyman. And when that originally in Candyman that my character didn't die, and that they did a test screening for the audience, and I remember Bernard was this British madman. He used to twist his hair. He's very, he's just unusual. He's off the charts genius, brain. And he didn't sometimes have control of his body. Get very excited. And, I remember when he goes, mate, we screened the film, and everybody at the end, all they filled out their questionnaires, and they all said they want to see you die, mate. They want to see you die. Yeah, and he really just for a little flandering. Yeah, okay, kill him.
Kill him.
And so he's, we worked it out. It's fucking brilliant. You go, you're with your little chippy, and you're disgusted by her. You're over already, and you miss Helen, and she's gone forever. You fucked up, and you go to the bathroom to get a moment of peace, and she's in there. She can't even fucking cook a steak, and she's cutting this fucking piece of meat, and you're in the bathroom, and you sit there, and you go. And you say it 5 times, mate, and she fucking shows up, and she fucking candy bitch. And he was, and we're gonna have gouts and gouts of blood. And literally on the day we shot this thing, he himself came on set. After the makeup, again, that wasn't a big budget. I was feeling, really, this is how we're gonna do it? I'm gonna be in the bathtub, okay. If you're gonna cut to me, I'm in the bathtub, and they've got my rib cage and my jeans split open and everything. Whatever. And so yeah, because she's gonna have the hook, and she's gonna tell you stem to stern, and Council got, so he had this tank, like I guess an old fashioned like water tank to put out a fire or something. It was the weirdest thing, and he had it filled with stage blood. And he himself was like, all over me, all over the walls. I know you gouts, mate. Yeah, that's my memory of being gruesome in Candyman.
Let me see. So,
and also, in the last little touch,
yep.
I was willing, I had the idea that when the hook came to ripped up, I would have my mouth filled with blood, so that the whole time they wouldn't be able to intercut it. It was, again, not a big budget movie, so practical effects. That it was like waiting until it would reach my stomach or my lungs or something, to then have the blood spill out of my mouth. That was fun.
That's very cool.
Yeah. Let me see.
Pie goes, you're having a nice bath, and suddenly your ribcage pops open.
Pie in her commentary. I love it. Where do we want to go next? Someone had a good question in here about recent stuff.
Come on, really only Pie. You're just covering for the fact that nobody else has.
No. I'm scrolling through this whole list.
I told you Gregory was not popular.
Oh no, I got Gregory questions, but I'm staying away from them because I want to get to like the new stuff. Oh, here we go. Linda says about the Wall of Mexico. In an interview, Jackson Rathbone says Xander and I worked together many years, and I begged him to come do this movie with us. He said yes for some reason. I don't know why. So can you give us the reason why you said yes?
Well, I love Mexico, and I really like the script. They're the writer director couple is a couple. She's Polish and he's American, but very Eurocentric art film uh, cinephile kind of types, and you don't get to do those art films that often anymore. There, I grew up in the golden age of independent films that where they had a budget for movies like Sid and Nancy and Leaving Las Vegas or Safe and just a whole bunch of different movies that I was a part of in what I consider kind of golden age for independent filmmaking. And things could be risky and arty and still get a budget. And so the fact that they had any kind of budget for a film that was as clearly art oriented as this, I jumped at it. And Jackson's such a sweet guy and he's fun to be around. And I didn't know Eastside, but I knew we'd hit it off and we did. And all the women in the film, just I won't bore everybody with the names, but they're all awesome people and great actors. And I had a blast. I love Mexico, and it was right before I moved, and that was the only question was that we were getting ready to move, and I just come back from I think wrapping up The Walking Dead, and it was it wasn't easy to do it, but it was a blast.
Mm-hmm. Well, coming off that death, anything would have been fun, right?
Wow.
Sorry, you left the door open for me, so.
And you could say that AMC left them hanging.
Oh,
Oh,
wow. We're in
I
Punsville.
didn't hear that. I'm going deaf. Say it again.
I said AMC really left you hanging, huh?
No, they did. They did.
Uh,
Nobody says anything bad about studios because they're afraid they're not going to work again, but I think I'll be all right.
We have faith in you, Xander.
Yeah.
We truly do.
I'm pretty sure you got this down to a pretty good system by now. Here's a good one. It says, have you lent your voice to Batman? Have you lent your voice to that's where I'm getting confused. Two Batman animated films. Have you seen the Batman with Robert Pattinson?
I can't wait to see the Batman with Robert Pattinson. While we've been talking, Andrea Romano popped up and she said, Rogeri and I were just chatting about you in a good way. It just made me miss you more than ever. She directed the Batman Forever, a lot of the animated Batmans.
Mm-hmm.
She's I think she's retired now, but she's really, I did Superman's with her, Batman's and Spider-Man's, and she's just freaking awesome. And it's so funny because I took it as a good sign. I can't wait to get back to her. I got an audition to the voiceovers. I could get offered TV series without having to read for it. I could get offered big parts in movies without having to read for it. But animation, you always got to audition for everything. And but it's worth it because you can just do it into your phone now.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. It's not like going in and getting your straw butter and your cane and doing the tap dance for people in the office. Which is what at a certain age, it just to continue to have to go begging for work just is the law of diminishing returns. So I like the offers, the respect of them, but I'm really happy to be auditioning for the role. I'll never get it because I'll always go with English people, but I do have an amazing role as a Brit coming up in something that I've just been hired to do that I can't talk about.
Okay.
And so I grew up among the British when I was a kid, and I also lived over there. So I can think a pretty good British accent. But Brits are always playing Americans.
Yeah, always.
So I consider it like if I'm one of the American actors that get to occasionally play a British character,
Mm-hmm.
let's balance things out. Huh?
Right.
And they're casting for the role of Alfred in a new Batman animated thing.
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely put in my 2 cents on that.
That would be freaking amazing.
That would be pretty cool.
playing Alfred. Yeah, that would be.
You know, I worked. I was the only American that worked on the Cherry Orchard. That was based on the Chekhov play.
Damn it, Leonard.
And it was directed by this 80-something-year-old director who had done Zorba the Greek and all these classic films, and Alan Bates and Charlotte Rampling, all Brits and Scottish and Welsh and New Zealander. Melanie Linsky was in it. Gerard Butler, Jerry Butler's one of his first movies, and crazy cool cast. And Michael Gough, who played the original Batman in with Michael Keaton, was in this film, and he was very old and just absolutely fantastic. And so I feel like if I were to do, I'm gonna watch and listen to the voice that Michael did, and because I spent a lot of time with him, sort of as an homage, try to channel him for that audition.
I'm getting yelled at in the chat. It's okay.
Who's yelling?
Everybody's yelling at
Am I
me.
talking too much?
No, they're yelling at me. Because I'm swerving through questions. I'm trying to, but don't worry, everybody. I'll get to it. Lucy says, as a Brit, you got it. Xander does a great accents. There was some other stuff in there. Half of the great American actors are British. Yeah, that's true. A lot of people did say that I did just see the Batman, and it was, look, 3 hours long is a lot for any movie. Mm-hmm. Any movie. I personally feel like they probably could have done it in 2:20. There's like 3 points where they could have ended that movie.
I was just watching Citizen Kane last night and thinking I could take an hour out of it.
Yeah.
Not the best movie ever made, but I could still snip some out.
Yeah.
We would.
It's just yeah. So it was good though. I'm gonna say it was good. Patterson was good as the Batman. I think he did a great job. Honestly, it's a much darker version than anything we're really used to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and it was. I think he did a good job of playing kind of like a vengeance, because he is. He really plays hard on. He is the justice. He is the vengeance in this movie. To where he even wears like the black makeup around the eyes. He has this like hurt soul thing about him. You know what I mean? Where he's like hurt deep. And he carried.
And it took the Joker's success as being critically embraced the way it was, and they went in that direction.
Yeah, and it was.
Were any of the same people involved with the Joker that did the Batman? I haven't tracked it.
No, right? It's not the same.
I know Matt Reeves did this Batman,
right?
But I don't think any of the big production people were involved in this movie that were involved in Joker.
Right.
I don't think so.
Because they're introducing a new Joker at the very. Sorry. Oh crap.
All right, Twitter.
Okay, good. That was just kind of a spoiler. My bad. Back to the questions before I fuck up anything else. Question about Alchemy of the Spirit. Is it too early to talk about that?
A little.
Okay, but then we won't if it's too early.
A little early. What's happening with that?
Okay, all right. So I know when I first reached out to you, you were out west.
Except I can say this about Alchemy of the Spirit, that we did shoot it on one of the properties here in Maine, and it was something that a friend of ours saw some pictures of this property and said it's a very old inn from the late 18th century, and it's rather decrepit, and it's a great. I think there's another great horror movie to be made on the same location, and we saved a lot of it. Like we didn't shoot any of the murals that were from the turn of the century, like 1800, and we didn't shoot the ballroom, and we just shot the barn and parts of the house that to make it look like two artists that had left New York and were big in the art world and had thought they'd get away from it all, and they maybe got a little too far away from it all, and maybe you don't know what's happened, but this is the one spoiler about Alchemy of the Spirit is I wake up, opening shot in bed, and Sarah Clark, the beautiful and very talented wife, plays my wife in the film, and she's dead. Just like that when I wake up. And he freaks out, and he like takes in that she's not breathing. And there's pills, she's obviously been sick. There's all these pills by the side of the bed, and he goes to see if any of them could maybe help him. And he goes to call 911, and then he stops and hangs up because he doesn't want them to take her away. So he gets back in bed and he just goes back to sleep almost and numbs his brain. And he brings her back as a work of art because he's eccentric. And in so doing, she comes back to life. And you don't know whether it's all in his head or whether it's happening. And that's the premise of the film, and it's speaking to someone on the other side, and that whole the beyond.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Well,
Yeah, it's pretty
really
deep.
interesting thing. And Sarah and I did a page one rewrite. He wrote it really quick and put it together. We shot it with like literally no budget. I have to say, we all just made it happen. Everybody was a kind of producer of it that came together. We just thought it's an opportunity, just like as soon as we got here, make something happen on the property. And that's what we want to do. We want to make movies here. So it was a bold adventure, and Steve Balderson had his own vision and he did his own thing with it. But it was great for us to get to work together here in Maine and to take on such a conceptual thing. And I don't know, it's entering out into the world, but you know, he did things with the editing that we would not have done,
Right.
that we wish we had been able to be involved with, but it's still a very interesting movie. Like I said, I'm just an honest guy.
Well, a lot of people, you know, so obviously Pi wanted you to talk as much about it as you could, but yeah, a lot of people are
I think
saying,
some people really like it.
Yeah.
And, good friends of ours saw these little test screenings and stuff, and we had our issues with it. So we are a little bit conflicted because we know how it could have been kind of in our minds. If it was our movie, we would have done something different. But he
Right.
made that movie. He gets to do what he wants.
yeah, I think, I mean, conceptually, like
It sounds pretty cool.
it's really cool.
It's such a cool idea, and
Yeah.
he did a great job.
It sounds
The
unique.
cinematographer, it was very cool.
Yeah.
I don't mean to talk it down at all.
No. It just sounds like it's something like actually like let's face it. There's so many remakes and there's so many rewrites of the same story
Yeah.
over and over and over again. So number
But-
one,
but-
to have this done basically in your backyard,
Yeah.
you know,
And we did another movie in our backyard just recently that just sort of landed. It turned out that they were shooting it like in our town,
right.
right by the kids' school. In this, all of our stuff was shot at this house. We put the parents, the lead actor who she wrote it and directed it. It's kids today. She's out there in LA, but she's from Maine, and she came back and she did the whole thing. Heightened is the name of that film.
Okay.
And I'm excited to see that one too. I haven't seen it yet, but that was super fun.
So in all the filming that you've been doing, obviously you've been busy. You've been, because I know, like I said, when I first reached out to you, I want to say I tried. When I first reached out to you, I sent you, and I remember. So let me tell this quick story real quick, because we were obviously thinking about having you back on, and so I'm going through my phone, and I just for some reason I'm scrolling all the way through it, and all the way at the bottom because Xander, you know, starts with an X. So I'm all the way down at the bottom of my contacts. And here is his name. And I'm like,
Bottom of the barrel.
what are the I'm like, what are the chances that this is like still his number? And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. So I type in a very basic, hey Xander, this is Chris from the podcast, blah blah blah. You know, I'm sorry, you know, this is very kind of like awkward for me to do, you know, kind of thing. And
Haven't we seen each other at the Sonoya thing since then?
well, I mean, we that's where we did see each other there as well,
Okay.
but it was so
Okay.
it was just I'm gonna pull it up just because I was like shitting a brick when I sent this message. So the first message is this still Sir Xander Berkeley's phone number? This is Chris from the podcast. He said, "The Lord," he writes back, "The Lord, my master, may still be reached here. Yes." I literally was like so nervous. I was so nervous sending that text, and then I was able to like be like, "Hey, we were interested in having you come back on." So this was back in October when I originally spoke with you, and I had asked you about, and you said you were very busy at the time. You were out west in Montana, I want to say.
Yeah, doing a movie that was produced by someone right here in our town. They'd moved to our town since we did, during right before the pandemic, or maybe at the very beginning of it. She and her husband and their two kids moved, and we'd met them before, and they had main connections. One of the people on the board, one of the big financiers, is a Mainer, and so they'd been up here and thinking about it, and then they just moved, and we'd become really good friends. Like I just painted the murals, and he's a chef and was a caterer in the business, and now he's opening a restaurant.
Wow.
And my daughter's gonna get her first job at 15 working for him because she loves to cook.
Awesome.
And I just did the murals on the wall of his restaurant. And Molly Connors, it's Phyphen Pictures, Phyphen, that produced Butcher's Crossing. It's a Nicolas Cage movie that I did at that time. And that was crazy hard work. It was like, again, this is a movie that would have had a huge budget back in the day. But now in this climate, really since 2008, something happened in the business, and they just can't seem to fork over the money you need to make these kind of movies anymore. But we did it miraculously in 18 days, and it's set in the 1870s, and it's based on the novel Butcher's Crossing by John Williams. It was school reading in the 60s and on in different schools over the years about the final decimation of the buffalo. And the weirdness of that is we've been hanging out with them, and I didn't know if there was going to be a part of it for me yet. And Sarah has been working, my wife has been working on a documentary about the return of the buffalo by the Blackfeet Indians and the repopulating of the plains with buffalo, and how it's helping to revive the tribe, both in Montana and in Alberta, Canada. And so she's intimately familiar with the subject matter, and we worked with this. Ended up working with the same tribe and the same herd of buffalo that she's been going and filming for this documentary and making a narrative film about the contemporary thing. So my wife's devoted to returning the buffalo, and I go out there and I kill them with Nicholas. Nick does most of the killing. I'm the one-armed mule team driver in the club.
Okay. All
That's
right.
awesome.
Well, since you were out in Montana, did you get any Yellowstone vibes, 1883 vibes? Are you into any of that stuff? Like the Yellowstone TV show in 1883 and all them?
I haven't watched it.
Yeah.
Jellystone? No, Yellowstone. I'm joking.
Give me my picnic basket. Boo-boo. Hey, boo-boo.
Oscar guy. Yeah. No, I don't know Kevin. I've never worked with him. I think it.
Everyone's just saying how sexy you would look in a cowboy hat, so.
And boots.
And boots. And boots, of course. Can't forget that.
Typically, Linda said that.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be fun to play a cowboy where I don't have to be like the one-armed crazy fucking lunatic. I might still have one cool looking cowboy left in me. Somebody's listening.
So.
You talk about pie?
Yeah, pie. So pie has a question. It says, question: the stump hand Was it green screen or latex, or did you actually cut off your hand? Perhaps. I don't think so, Pi. I'm gonna say green. I'm gonna say green screen.
It was combo.
Oh, okay.
We did again because I had certain skills, because their budget was limited, because it is what it was. I was working on something else. I got back and I had I made a cast with one hand late at night before I took off for this other job I was doing. In between, I made a cast of my fist, which involved basically wrapping it in plaster bandage and then cutting it up the back so they'd have the details that they need.
Right.
Got my hand out, put it back together, wrapped it up, poured what's no, what did I have to, no, I know what I did. I had to, first I had to cover it in alginate, which is the stuff you make dental stuff. That
Oh,
I took
okay.
big
Yeah.
bag of. And so I made this big rubbery thing, and that's what I cut up. And then I took my fist out, and then I put it back together, and then I wrapped it in gauze bandages, and then I poured the plaster in,
Bad visuals.
and then made a plaster positive of my fist like this.
Mm-hmm.
Slightly warped a little bit here and there,
Mm-hmm.
but it was pretty darn good. And not every actor knows how to do that with one hand. I was already practicing getting into the character of one-handed lifestyle by doing that all with one hand, and shipped it off to the makeup artist that was somewhere in New Mexico, I guess, to make the stump. And so basically they had to make the flesh that goes around it, not the color.
Yeah.
It was the tricky thing, and I shouldn't even talk about this because it sort of spoils the illusion, but one of the things that if you're going to add, one of the things that never works about stumps is that you're trying to sell this
Yeah.
and you've got this.
I got
Because
you.
there's nothing you can do with that.
Right.
And so there's some parts are going to have to CGI when it just looks too bad. But so you're all the time, you got to make it work, you've got to pull this arm all the way up.
Mm-hmm.
And so that your sleeve looks short. And it looks like you got your hand cut off, because it's a big part of the story, how he lost his hand. And so in order to make this not look weird, you have to wear a pad over here.
Right.
So
you got to
that
even
this-
out. Right.
It helps to sell the illusion.
Right.
So you're walking around the whole time like this, and the wardrobe, like I kept trying to I literally they were so underfunded and over the time, the amount of time everybody was working so hard. I sewed my own buffalo sling. We saw these, I pulled up some great pictures of one-handed guys back in cowboy days, and even in the buffalo hunting days, and maybe some gold rushers, but they had a buffalo sling that this guy had, because you don't want to show off your stump. It's not something you really, hey, you want to see my stump?
Well, a lot of
like
people want to know if you brought the
Care to
stump
see my
home.
stump?
Yeah. Did you bring? Some people want to know if you brought the stump home after the movie. Did you bring it home?
I brought the beautiful buffalo that I sewed, just tore my hand apart sewing. Getting a needle through a buffalo hide is not easy.
I couldn't imagine.
But it's a cool ass thing, and a lot of it I sell, but just by keeping it in there. But to drive a mule team
Right.
with one hand, they thought this is crazy. That's something a writer writes
Right.
that you can't do.
Right.
But I figured, because I do a lot of stuff with my hands, I figured out how to hold one of the reins for the right with between these two fingers, and then hold the other between these, and that I'm pulling this way and that to try, because you have to pull this one to get them to turn right, and you pull that one usually like this to get them to turn left.
Right.
And this is how you drive a mule team. And to have to do that with one hand, but very fucking tricky, especially when you're going over cliffs and they want to follow the horses.
Right.
And the horses are supposed to go around these big rocks, but they just, because they're not professional riders, they just go between them. And then I'm on this carriage. I'm 10 feet off the ground on this carriage with the mules, and they just follow the horses. And so I go up over the thing, and they go literally down below. I shouldn't be talking about this. There was nothing that we did that was dangerous. These producers,
No mules were hurt. No mules were injured.
Ever. But you know, it was a crazy time because I don't want to buzzkill, but there was a Western being shot at the time where bad things happened, and so everybody we were all a little on edge. It's tricky, just in general, to do that one-handed thing.
I couldn't even imagine. I like trying to like think about doing it, like doing that.
And then act.
And then act, right.
And then hit your mark. That was a really great one when Nick was going crazy in this one scene because he was frustrated and it sort of fit the character, but he was really. There were a couple of times when it's the fifth or sixth time that I worked with Nick, and I fucking love the guy, but he's crazy, and sometimes the merge between the character and self. And so, okay, the horses, the mules especially. I remember the mule team drivers said, you know, when you guys were, you're up there fighting, Xander, and you started shouting at each other. We all thought you were really fighting, and so we got scared. Of course, the mules never seen nobody shout like that before, and so they got jumpy. That's why they almost threw you. There's one part where Nick jumps onto the carriage and starts, we have this thing. It's exciting. That's why you do this shit. I mean, part of it, life is treacherous no matter how safe you play it. And I've had a lot of fun not playing it very safe over the years.
Well, look, this is why we enjoy doing this, because we get to have someone like you here to tell us these stories of things that like we will probably never be a part of. So it's just as like, this is why we love it. We love
Where
getting.
do you guys live again?
New York.
New York City?
No, we're about an hour and a half north.
Yep.
What town? Are you allowed to reveal?
Yeah. So
I live in Poughkeepsie.
Yeah, we're right in the Poughkeepsie area. It's like the Queen City,
Vassar.
Queen City. Yeah, right by Vassar College. There you go. Well, yeah, because that's a very artsy school.
You know that reference? You must know that reference if you're from there.
Which one?
Gene Hackman, Papillon. No. What am I saying? Not Papillon. One of the classic early Gene Hackman movies, where he plays a detective. Somebody's going to say it.
Gene
They
Hackman.
know. It's a one name thing. I think he plays Popeye Doyle, who's the detective, real life detective. He goes, did you or did you not pick your toes in Poughkeepsie? Something like that.
Yes.
You know what?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'll have to look that up.
That's funny.
The other, besides Vassar College, the other famous Poughkeepsie reference, as far as I know. What else is Poughkeepsie famous for?
Well, I mean, right now, not Poughkeepsie.
Drug epidemic?
Unfortunately, really bad. Jeffrey D. Morgan lives like 15, 20-ish minutes north of us.
Yep.
That is out. Don't tell people where Jeffrey lives because they'll fucking go there.
They know.
They know.
Oh, trust me.
What they do.
Because him, his wife Hillary, and Paul Rudd own a candy shop in the village that's north of us.
That's right. They know that. That's right.
Yep.
They're in Poughkeepsie. Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
It's like Rhinebeck, I think.
Rhinebeck, which it's like 15 minutes north of us.
Yeah.
And then
So they can have a public thing and they can show up there and not just be like besieged.
Right, because Rhinebeck is, very high end.
Yeah.
So like him walking down the street isn't like, him walking down the street.
Yeah, that's right.
In Atlanta.
So many people left LA this past couple of years to move to upstate New York. One of my best friends. I'm really excited because now he's within range.
Yeah, what was it, like 6 hours to Maine? 6 hours, 8
not
hours?
that far. Actually, I think there was one time I was driving past the exit for where you live in Maine, and I'm pretty sure I messaged you on Twitter, and I was like, "Hey, I just drove past the exit for your area," and it's not that far from us.
Yeah. So you're probably about 6-7 hours from us. Nice day trip.
Well, so you're further west in the state.
You know where the Hudson River is?
Yeah.
You're right, dude.
Yep, we're right on the east side of the Hudson River.
Yep.
So, because I'm only 5 hours from New York.
Oh, okay, so yeah, we're about 5-6 hours.
Well,
Yeah.
but now that I've been stopped and given a warning, I probably won't drive that.
Yeah.
I promised the guy. I looked up at the kid and I said, I promise. So I really feel like I kind of have to. I didn't tell him the emergency that I was had to get back here for.
She should have. It would have helped.
A little bit of an acting exercise for me.
Sure.
I pulled it off. And then he gave me a warning, and I felt like the guy was kind enough that I am going to really stay under the speed limit from now on. Even when I see it's just straight away, there's no cars coming. Just you know what would it be like to actually drive the speed limit?
It sucks.
An exercise in presence.
Yeah. Driving the speed limit stinks.
But yeah, I'm 2 hours from Boston, and fine.
All right.
That's it.
Yeah, so Boston's like 3 and change from here. It's like three and change. So yeah, probably about 5-6 hours.
Yeah. But anyway, the reason I brought that up was
Go ahead.
to out your dress, but was to anytime I'm shooting in that area, I'm going to get you guys on the set so you can experience being on a set.
Can I be your boom guy? I'm gonna be your boom guy.
Be a boom guy.
I'm gonna be a boom guy.
You know, usually it's like boom guys and bass players. They're the tall, lanky guys.
Oh no, that won't be me.
Usually on set, but you do need strong arms because you got to keep things up there. They usually no tall guys because you got to be up above frame and you got to hold it so they get these well over 6 foot guys a lot of times.
I'm gonna learn to stand on stilts and then I'll hold the boom.
You're about as tall and lanky as a bull in a china shop.
You're about to be the bull in the China shop, right?
Guys, let's not. Come on, let's not go there.
It's picking on me.
It's gonna go spiraling in the wrong direction.
You know, I still have to get him back from last week.
What did I do last week?
Where everyone took the pictures of you doing certain things behind my head.
Oh,
during the show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I just did this, and all of a sudden, it's a big deal.
Have you ever gotten him in a headlock?
Me?
Yeah.
Him? No, I would never do that.
But just for the photographic image, I think it just throw your.
Is that a request, Xander?
Yeah, just throw your big, bulky, beefy arm.
You might want to take your glasses off for that.
Like you're putting your arm around him, and you're hugging him. But now it's like fake it into a headlock because you pretend you're acting.
Like
There
that?
you go.
Yeah, like that. Oh, look at that. I give him a nug, but he ain't. He's got missing something right there. A little noogie.
You can use that. Trust me, you can use that for your self-promotional campaign.
There you go.
Thanks, Xander. I can always appreciate your
I
support.
think you should have risked keeping the glasses on. Frankly.
Oh, I don't want to break anything. You know, God forbid.
Like my dignity.
He's a big guy. So he's like a bull in a china shop. Does he knock shit over and stuff? He could have broken your glasses.
Yeah, I don't want.
Probably a good thing you took them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have a good improv question for you.
Yeah.
So your death scene as Gregory, and I'm trying to stay away from, TWD stuff, but.
Oh no! Don't worry about it. I'm cool.
Pi wanted to know. She heard that you improv'd your heart out while wearing the noose during that scene. Can you get into details, I guess, about the certain improvs you went through, or?
Well, it was the Walking Dead is one of those shows. Very often, from all the way back. Not in TV as much as in movies. I've been called upon. I feel like I've been hired for my ability to improvise as much as my ability to act, and to do rewrites and polishes and offer alternative dialogue to that which is written. Because so often it's when you're in the moment on the set. It's one thing to conceptualize something. It's another thing to do it. And when you're doing it, sometimes you don't need to say this or that or the other thing because the action itself explains it. And a lot of times they write things so that like in movies anyway, so the producers are going to put up the money, are going to be able to picture it and see it. But on the day, you don't need to say it because you're doing that. You need to say something else that a person, a human being, would actually say when they're in that situation. And having grown up in experimental theater and in doing I was in a comedy improv company with Chris Elliott when I was 19 years old. He was 17. Out in New York City, we went to clubs. Not many people know that. And we're still friends, and he lives up here in Maine now too.
Very cool.
Reestablishing a great friendship from all the way back. And yeah, having the ability to come up with stuff off the top of your head is a necessary skill in the film business because of that. And in television, and you know, for example, when my wife and I were doing 24, events were happening so fast in real life that the show strangely paralleled that we had to, a lot of stuff had to change at the last minute. And they would only have time to give a rough idea, literally, and you're shooting it. And so being able to come up with stuff, got to do it when you get the script. And so I just immediately start writing alternatives in the margins. They want to see, did he just cough up a dog?
No.
Oh, no, that's a dog.
Yeah, that's Rudy. He likes to when people come in the house, he likes to bark. He's our mascot, so you know.
Yeah,
that's what dogs do. He just got a rescue 2 days ago, and he's such a good little bit. Our friends came back, the people that we're doing partnership with came back from Panama with a dog that they had rescued from the jungle that the alpha dogs of the jungle had beaten and bitten. He'd been hit with a machete in the nose. He was bleeding and falling apart, and they saved his life for a month. And then they brought him back, and they said, "We got to find a home." And both of my daughters, the day before, out of the blue, we've lost our dog a year ago, and out of the blue, and they haven't talked about dogs. We got 2 cats, and we rescued 2 cats from a barn, and that was our drama this summer. And we've got those cats now. They're feral. They're crazy. And we love them. But they both really missed having a dog. And they both told me, like, sort of independent of one another. And the next day, these guys have a dog, so that's meant to be our dog. And we just got him over the weekend, and we're all madly in love with him. So, yeah, I know about dogs, but he doesn't seem to bark too much at anything but, like, those. Well, we haven't had visitors much yet. So.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. His barking is just kind of like it's a greeting, you know?
Yeah.
But he's a small guy. He's like 13 pounds. He's a mini schnauzer. And it's just a very high-pitched, piercing bark. So I try to, like, you know...
The one that we lost had that.
Yeah. So it's just like, you know, with the audio, everybody's ears would start ringing. So I was able to nullify the bark. I didn't kill him.
Jesus, Linda.
Jesus.
I didn't think you killed him. I thought you were throwing up a dog. That's what it said.
Oh, you thought of throwing him up. Right. Hold on. Let me get off scene real quick and let me puke. No, what I did is I picked him up and I handed him off to my son, and then my son brought him downstairs.
Hey, what was I talking about? It was a good story, and I can wrap it up quick.
When? The dog?
Yeah. Does anybody remember?
Well, everybody.
My attention deficit is not good.
I got some things in here about. Well, everyone wants to see pictures of the new doggo, or to see the dog in general. Linda says that the behind-the-scene pics that you shared on your Insta with your last scene as Gregory were so sad. Xander's face was heartbreaking.
Oh, that's what it was. It was about improvising the house.
Yes.
So on The Walking Dead, from day one of the weirdest things that I had to adjust to was the fact that they not only do they not want you to come up with an alternative. First of all, you don't need to, because the writers are so freaking good that they don't want a syllable. They don't want a word off. And I'm used to not playing it loose and easy, but like I'm gonna get the idea out, and it's gonna sound like the character would say it. And sometimes, and I try to do it different in every take, but then it's all seamless, and anything would cut together with anything else. And it was like, oh wow, I've got this whole speech, and there's not a there's somebody that comes over and says, actually it's of, not at, but go ahead. Okay. I just got that whole speech and that's okay. Cool. But it was a big thing with the show because everything is verbatim. And so okay, so you just really and like Stephen and I had all this dialogue stuff, and we just had such a blast. It was an opportunity. Usually, you kind of want to leave it fresh sometimes to keep it looking more naturalistic. But so we would get together and run the lines and just be banging them back and forth, so we could say them inside out any which way, but always do it differently in every take. That's why they developed the Xandog shot. I may have talked about in the last interview. But the improvisational thing, Greg knew that he kind of knew that that's kind of a thing of mine, and he said, "Xander, you're finally gonna get to improvise." In this next one, you do it any way you want, and because, especially because they saved my shot for last, and they shot every character that was there, and just about every character was there when I got home, and they shot them out first, and I gave it my all to everybody, to each character who gets to see Gregory die. I wanted to give them my full performance. Not every actor does that.
Yeah.
Some people save it. And this is a weird thing that a lot of young actors, not to diss young actors, but a lot of old timers will do that because it's a thing of ethics, almost like you've got to give 100% off camera. But there's acting coaches that are out there that have advised a lot of newer actors, now not so new, but this has been a new thing for a while. So those young actors are now old. That you want to save it for when the camera comes around on you, and if you have any pull, you want to maybe arrange it so that you get to go last, so that you really have your shit together and you can really let it rip when it comes around on you.
Right.
And I've done scenes in things, a lot of things, TV over the years, especially where you do your coverage and you do scene, and you're doing the scene with them, and then they come around on them and they do shit like, what? You're doing that? If I knew you were doing that, I would have had a completely different reaction.
Right.
Because I like to be in the moment, and like, I'm going to react to what you're doing. And but these are sometimes the very same actors where if they figured out ahead of time what they're going to do, and you could set yourself on fire in the scene, and they would still find that angle. Right. They would, oh, you're burning. No, it's not what I was going to do. That's what I'm going to do. So I finally got to improvise, and because I think he realized that I had given it my all, and I could have pretty much squeezed out every drop of the dialogue as written. So I needed to keep it fresh when they turned around on me, and whatever's in there, I think, is whatever the hell came out of me when I was on that horse, my hands tied behind my back. I think it may have been a fake. But yeah, I think it was the fake horse. I think I reached the point where I go, you know what? To have a noose around my head with my hands tied behind my back and a real horse, I don't think I got paid enough.
Yeah, right. I mean, you were talking earlier about how many times you had near-death experiences. I mean,
Well, and you reach a point where you go, okay, that's way past 9 lines.
I've lost count after 12.
Maybe if they had killed me the way I at the time that I thought they were going to, I would have risked my life. But at this point, and they had an incredible, the fake horse was unbelievable, of course, as you would expect. But also the stunt guy came up to me because he did it with the real horse in the wide shot, and he said, "Dude, I do this all the time. You're really glad you didn't." And I go, "You're fucking kidding." I've been doing a lot of shit in my days. Some of it, it's my own fault because I just I'll do that. And other things, I've been, you know, there's the whole macho thing. Like, come on, you're scared to do that?
No, I'm just too smart to do
Some
that.
guys are always like, come on.
I value my life.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't that what you stump people are here for? Go ahead and do the stupid shit. I got to give them props though. They do a lot of dangerous stuff. So
Absolutely.
I mean, you know.
Oh, hell
But,
yeah.
yeah, that's
Well,
I got people. Yeah, I got everybody. Well, I just okay. The people who follow you on Instagram love the pictures of the dog and everything.
They're very obsessed with the dog.
Very obsessed with the dog. Everyone's very obsessed with the new pooch.
oh, that dog is so magical. He's so cool. I feel so lucky to have found him, and he's clearly had a very positive change of fate.
Good. That's very good. The dogs definitely can bring a family even closer. You know, it is. You know, even though he's a little pain in my ass, I love him. But
And he's still alive.
and he's still alive, guaranteed.
All right, Linda.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're gonna let you go and actually have some time, hopefully, with your family. God, we've been on for over 2 hours.
Yeah. I wanted to make up for being late.
Well, I think
I have a work ethic.
I think you did it. I think you made up for it.
I think you did a great job.
Yeah,
As you always do.
of course. Lucy, good night. Thank you, because I know it's probably 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Same for Linda. Pi, it's probably the sun's rising. Who knows?
That's what I mean. I love those guys so much.
Ah.
They're out there. It's
Yeah,
just, this is for them and for you guys, because you guys are awesome.
appreciate it.
So, you know, my fans, I haven't got many, but man, they're awesome. The ones I got, I love them. This little Xander Berkeley Friday crowd.
Oh yeah, the Xander Fridays. Everything comes alive on
Over-
Fridays.
Over 5 years, and they've never missed a Friday. Somebody always puts something up, and I've religiously been there to thank them and make fun of myself with them, because it's cool. I never wanted I never craved big fame, but the idea of recognition on the level that those guys do is like everything I got.
You got your own day of the week. Like you literally have your own day of the week that's celebrated every week.
What more could you ask for?
You
Right?
know?
Right?
It's
You have,
quality, not quantity.
yeah, you have a whole day. You're celebrated once a week, every Friday.
Handful of folks, but God bless them.
And
Yeah.
Friday's the best day of the week. 'Cause that's
Friday,
when the work week's ending.
you get
ready for the
paid.
Weekend, you get paid, you know?
You know? I mean, hopefully. I don't know.
Hopefully.
But yeah, Xander, thank you so much.
You bet. Stay in touch. Don't ever be shy about staying in touch.
Oh no, I'll definitely, I'll send you a random, I won't be drunk
And
or
we'll see you
anything.
maybe in Sonoya again one of these days.
I would love it. Be amazing.
I know Michelle is still doing she's getting something back up and running down there.
It's yeah, I've seen a bunch of stuff. What's going
And
on?
who was it? Stephanie Regis too.
Oh, Steph. Yep, Steph was here. She said hello. She was worked a long day. She popped in and said hello. Steph did pop in here.
Well, love to all you guys, and thank you for being a fan of mine, because I'm a fan all years too. Take care. We'll see you guys.
All right, everybody. Thanks for being here, hanging out with us. We will be back next week. Hopefully, Renee will be back with us as well, even though she's a very busy woman right now. So yeah, love you guys. Peace out. Be safe. Love you.
Have a good night, guys.
Xander,
Thank you, sir.
thank you, sir.
As always.
Go enjoy the dog and the family.
I'll send you a pic.
All right, love you, bud.
Take care. Back at you.
Bye, guys. That's awkward.
Hey,
There you go.
going live. Best podcast, Beauty and the Beast. Sit back and catch a vibe. Oh yeah, we talking zombies and apocalypses and all those things you like. Going beast mode, and if you didn't know, it's Peter Z up on the mic. Whoa, hey, TWD family. Grab the snacks about the pantry and subscribe and like if you can, please. Or those walkers eat you like some candy. Hey, okay. You at the right place at the right time. No one does it better, that's the bottom line. Beauty and the Beast, this is prime time. Let's go.